Everything sounds good though. No cracking or anything.
No, not that I hear, but I
All
mean,
right, excellent, excellent.
we'll have to wait till Flex gets in here and then he'll tell you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, knowing that most of it's on his half, anyways. All right, we'll wait for a few more people to get in the room. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the channel, Real Talk with Roy. We got our special guests in the house, so we'll get a few more people in the room, and then we'll go ahead and start the interview. How's your day been going, bro? Good.
Good, good. Got a lot of updates I'm trying to work on.
Start the interview. Turn the volume off on that.
Yeah, I was hoping I'm trying to sell this house too. I was like, man, I hope nobody wants a showing at 3 o'clock.
So you plan on straight going to Florida or what? Just
Yeah, I'm selling both of my houses in Oklahoma, and I'm gonna just go back to Florida full time.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah. Hey, but son, it's been a while since
Okay,
I've
we'll go
seen
ahead.
you.
Yeah, right. It's been a minute. Okay, so this is how the interview is going to go, guys. We're going to go ahead and ask Gary some questions, and after we're all done asking him the important questions, we're going to open it up to the audience. So if you guys have any specific questions you would like to ask Gary, you can go ahead and leave them in the comments, and we'll get to those. But let's start off with introducing our man of the hour here, Mr. Gary Middleton of Middleton Technologies, owner-operator. Would you like to introduce yourself, Gary? And
Oh yeah, I mean, I think most
people?
people know me. I don't hide. I'm on all these live streams, so I don't hide. Most of the people know me. Gary Middleton, owner, developer, support, everything, all in one man for Middleton Technologies. Got all the apps that most of the gig workers use. So
Excellent. So can you tell us a little bit of your background? What got you involved in the coding and all that good stuff?
actually, I've always played around with the coding. As far as like doing little stuff here. Started out, of course, HTML, CSS, PHP, things like that. Website design. And then I started playing a game that actually had coding in the game. So then I would do coding in the game and made real money from doing that, as well, because people could convert their in-game money to real money. And so I'd get everybody to pay me in the game, and I just convert it to real cash. But as far as what I do now, full-time developer, that started in around 2015. I was a safety director for a trucking company, and then that trucking company got bought out by another trucking company. And in between the transition of my position to go from one company to another, I started driving Uber and Lyft. And then, of course, like I said, I say this story all the time. Back then, when you drove Uber and Lyft, it was a very painful headache. Everything would flash on the screen. You'd have noises and actual flashing while you're driving, things like that. And then to try and accept the trip and then multi-app back then, most people didn't know about multi-apping. And so to try multi-app back then, it was a pain.
Yeah.
And we actually had the multiplier search back then. And so like request after request after request, and you're trying to turn off another app and accept this request and things like it was just a headache. And I was like, man, I got to do something. So that's where I was like, I've always had a programming background. So I was like, let me see what I can figure out. And so that's where my very first app came into play, which was Maximo. And actually, it wasn't even called Maximo at first. It was actually called Pegasus. And it was a very simple app that would just do certain things for you. It didn't do everything it does today. But you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So what was that? What was actually the inspiration? What the safety? I remember you saying in other channels that safety was a big part of it. Was that the majority of the reason you decided to do these apps? Was the safety aspect of it?
Safety was the whole aspect of it. Because like I said, I was a safety director for a trucking company. And so whenever I was doing Uber and Lyft, of course, I still want to be safe because I have a CDL. So I got to maintain safety. I can't just be running into people or, killing somebody on the road because I'm trying to fiddle with these damn apps. Yeah. And so that's why I created Maximo, is to help me do that. And then I was like, well, I can also help other gig workers too. So then that's why I released it to the public. And, back in 2015, it was free because I had a full-time W-2. I made great money. But then, I decided into 2016, I didn't want to work for this company. So then I went back to full-time gig work and developing the apps.
Yeah. And then you moved on to the DoorDash, the Duh app, correct?
Yeah, Duh app came out the beta version came out in late 2019, I believe, is when the beta came out. And then, of course, once the pandemic hit in May is when I turned full focus around on that and made it public. So that March. I think it was March 2020. I made it public so everybody could use it because we had so many more drivers coming out on the road.
Yeah, was the Duh app created kind of like the Maximo as far as the safety aspect, or was it just because the constant barragement of bad orders and being harassed on the regular with bad orders that you decided, I don't know, to find a way to make it where you didn't have to see so much on your phone while you were doing your...
No, they're all built around safety. I mean, that's the primary focus of the app. I know a lot of people say, well, you can decline, you can accept. Well, yeah, if you don't have to touch your phone and the apps can do that for you, that's safety. You don't have to take your eyes off the road or anything like that. The app will tell you when an order is accepted. It'll tell you when it's declined. It can actually speak to you and tell you the amounts on the screen, all that stuff. So everything is built around safety on my apps.
Yeah. So how has the gig community accepted your apps? Do you have a lot of feedback from your apps that has helped them?
This is one thing that makes my apps unique, actually, is almost everything that you see inside these apps are from drivers. Like, I mean, there's a few that I've done myself, but I'll get emails or messages. People, they'll see me on lives. They'll say, hey, I'd like to have this. And 99% of the time, if it's a feature that's not going to take away from the core aspect of the app and it's feasible, I do it because
that was going to be my next question is, do you take the feedback and ideas of what other drivers have and incorporate that into the app if it's feasible for you to do so?
Of course, exactly. That's exactly what I do. Like, I'll get an email before companies change, and these gig apps change all the time. So some features that I had in 2016 I no longer have, but I have other ones that might replace those, or some features come and go. It really depends on what all information we can get from the gig apps, and so by getting feedback in different markets, for example, not every market for Uber and Lyft have the same type of rides. So if you're trying to base filters off of like your Uber X, but you're an Uber Premier driver as well, you might have two different baselines you want there, because Uber Premier just pays a lot better. So why would you accept something lower? So Maximo has tons of filters built into it, and DUH is there too. It has so many filters that if I went through every single filter that's in the app, it'd probably take me a couple hours to go over every single filter.
Yeah, and with the apps constantly updating, constantly changing the way they do things, does that keep you busy to where you're having to adjust your apps to continually stay with those other apps that you're...
Oh yeah, that's why it's a subscription-based model, not a one-time purchase, because every time they change something, I have to change something. And so, a lot of people don't know, I still go drive. It's not like I sit behind my computer all day and program all day. I still go drive. And so I do full-time driving and I do full-time coding. So I'm 15, 18 hours a day between the both.
Nice. Yeah. So because you are a true gig worker as well. You're not...
Right. It's not like I'm just programming these apps and go, oh, I don't know. I'm actually a full-time gig worker.
Okay. And we also know that you seem to be the one man on YouTube that actually reads the terms of service. Have you come across anything in the terms of service that would make your apps illegal to use for any gig worker while using your apps?
Illegal? No, because illegal means it's a law passed by a state or federal government. Now, is it against the terms of service? No more than Google Maps. If you actually read these terms of services on the third party apps, it has to be just the DoorDash app, for example. You can only use the DoorDash app if you go by that, because these terms of services contradict themselves so much. They're meant to be vague for a reason. You know, just like DoorDash will say, well, you're an independent contractor, but you must do this. But of course, in the terms of service, they tell you that you're the terms of service actually state that you're an independent company outside of DoorDash, and DoorDash is the one contracting you to do the work. And also, a few lines down after that, it says that DoorDash will not tell you how to complete the job, that you can complete the job in any way legally.
Yeah.
So, but I'll tell you this much. A lot of people always ask that too, because I get that question a lot. Um, I get contacted by these corporate offices. It's not like DoorDash is just doing nothing. It's not like Uber's doing nothing, Lyft's doing nothing. I get contacted by them, and then I tell them how the app works, what the app's doing, and then they go, okay. And they have my full name, my full legal name. They have my driver IDs and all that stuff. They're going to deactivate me before they deactivate anybody else. Why would they pick some random person? They're not going to pick some random person off the street, go, let's deactivate this guy. But let Gary continue to work so he can do these apps.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Have the corporations reached out to you because of your apps to see if what you're doing is against their terms or
right? They always want to know what am I doing? Am I, first off, the biggest question that they have for me, do I connect directly to their servers in any way? That's the major question. And none of my apps force you to use driver credentials. You know, I know there's some apps out there that do. Mine do not. It all works with built-in functions directly on the phone that is governed by, like, Google, for example. You know, they say what features developers can use, what they can't. That's why most of my apps are on Android, because Apple says developers can't use those functions, but Google says we can. So I abide by what Google allows. And then I tell these companies that too. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is the information that I collect. The information that you see in the apps is the only information I collect. I don't collect anything else outside of that.
Yeah, that will lead me into my next question, because we have seen lately on YouTube certain individuals that are spreading what appears to be false information about you, false information about your app and exactly what your app is doing, and accusing your apps of doing certain things. So if you could explain to the people, what exactly does your app use in order for the gig worker to use the app? What information does it use when they're using
it? It uses the same information that a driver would use themselves. If you're looking at, and we're going to go with DoorDash because that's what most people know. If you're looking at the DoorDash offer, what do you see? You see the distance, the payout. Some markets have time, the restaurant name, and that's all they give now on the new update. You know, some markets may have a little bit more because they're, you know, required by law, like New York or LA or something like that. But for the majority of it, what you see on the screen is what my app processes. It doesn't get anything extra. Okay, and all it does is take that information and breaks it down for you so you can make a quicker decision.
So your app doesn't require you to send an email, send in passwords that give your company direct access to anybody's account. For these people that have hacking worries, or like I said, the individuals that have been spreading this kind of information on YouTube.
No, like I said before, the apps do not require any email or password. Maximo does have an option for that, but it's not required.
So,
but as far as DUH goes, no email, no password, no nothing.
So what is the chance of somebody choosing to turn on DUH or Maximo? What is their percentage of possibility of being hacked by your apps?
0. Like my apps don't do anything that you don't tell it to do. Like it doesn't get any extra information. Like for example, think of it. The best way I can explain it in layman's terms is think about you having a girlfriend in your passenger seat. You pass her your phone and you tell her, hey, if this type of offer comes in, accept it. If it doesn't, decline it.
Yeah.
And I mean, what's the chances of your girlfriend hacking your phone sitting next to you?
Right.
I mean that's the best way I can explain it in
Yeah.
layman's terms.
So what are your thoughts on these people spreading this false information? Are they? Why would you think people are willing to spread this false information about you and your apps? What do you think is the motive behind their intent?
Well, like I don't know. I think you want me to say one of their names.
You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
It's your interview.
Well, like Robert, I don't know what his is. I've never done anything to him. I've always been polite to him, even when other people trash talk him. I've always, ignored it. I don't trash talk people. That's just not who I am. I just asked him one time, please don't tag me in videos that have nothing to do with me or my company, because then I click on those videos for something that has nothing to do with me, and users of mine might click on those videos because they have nothing to do with me. And then Sam, he says the Gig Wars app got him hacked. Well, anybody that's ever installed the Gig Wars app knows it only asks for one permission in the Gig Wars app. That's it, one. And that's to send you a notification. And that's just so for future features that I'm implementing on that app, you'll start getting notifications. But other than that, there's zero permissions. It doesn't do anything like my other apps. Now, as far as the Sam incident, Red has shared with me that she actually has screenshots of Sam texting back and forth with somebody that was the hacker from California number. So my guess for that incident would be that he clicked on a link, he shared his username and password, somebody kept getting into it, something along those lines.
Okay, cool. So that would lead me into the next one, the Gig Wars app. Can you tell us a little bit how that became about and your relationship with Red as far as that app goes?
Red, I guess she had an idea to do some Gig Wars and she was doing the YouTube channel on it. She wanted an app created. And so her and Lady Enigma actually started creating the app together. And then I came across the live one day and it was just for Android is all it was going to be. And I was like, well, I can program iOS. So why don't we make it for iOS as well? And so then I talked to Red about it and then we started programming the iOS version of the Gig Wars app.
Yeah. So right now you got currently the 3 apps going right now?
No, I have total of 7 apps all together. Because I have a few little game apps and I got a couple companies that I program their apps for. So, a lot of people just know me for the 3 apps as far as the gig community.
Gotcha. Are you planning on trying to make any apps that will work for other gig jobs, such as, let's say, Spark and those other particular applications?
Not for accept or decline, because like Spark and things like that, they're a first come first serve system, and so by having an app automatically accept, well, I say I won't have it accept a trip for Spark or anything that's a first come first serve, like deliver that, because they are a first come first serve app. So to have my app accept it, that would actually give an advantage to someone that's not using my app. And so I'm a firm believer of not doing that. Now, I will say, like my Flex Alert app, Amazon's a first come, first serve app as well. But my Flex Alert app, it works for Amazon and it can actually auto accept reserved blocks. And what that means, a reserved means that it is directly sent to only that driver. and then Amazon gives you 2 minutes to accept it, and if you don't accept it, then they send it on to another driver. And so that's one way I will do auto accept for stuff.
Oh, nice,
But as far as giving somebody an advantage, I don't do those types of apps.
So pretty much you're on the ethical side when it comes to that. Everybody should be able to have the fair opportunity when it comes to it. Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing, like Maximo, DUH, the reason why they auto accept is because of the way that the system is set up. The orders are directly sent to that driver only. They're not sent to another driver. They're not sent to mass drivers. It's only that driver. So you see it, and you're going to either accept it or decline it yourself anyways. So why not be safer about doing that?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, can you give us all a history of your gig work? I should have done this at the beginning, but can you give us a history of all the apps you have worked and how long you've been part of the gig community?
I started, like I said, 2015 as whenever I started doing Uber and Lyft. It might have been a little bit earlier than that, but that's a roundabout thing. So what I do after that, of course, I've done Uber Eats as soon as it rolled out, Amazon Flex, DoorDash, Spark, Allstate Safe Driving, which is a roadside rescue app. Delivered. Oh, let me see. I guess I should have brought up my phone.
So we just say all
Instacart.
of them?
Yeah, pretty much all of them. I have 20 gig apps on my phone, by the way, 20.
That's nice.
Because I was talking to Kim about it last night in her live, and she has like 14. I was like, well, let me see how many I got. I got 20. And that's the thing. Like, I've been around so long that when these companies came out, like Instacart, guess what? The first year they was here, I was doing Instacart. So I've been around a long time. And so across all these apps, I've been here 7-8 years now, full time.
So you've seen pretty much all the major changes and everything through the apps from beginning to up to this point.
Correct.
And has seeing these changes helped you to create a better app for drivers as far as accept and decline and the way your apps work? Has that definitely helped you being starting from start till now?
Yeah, I think that if I didn't do gig work, they wouldn't be as well off as they are. Because, I mean, like if I see something that I need, other drivers get it too. And that's the same thing. If other drivers see something in their market that they need and they email me about it, everybody gets that. Yeah. But I'm a firm believer that if you're not, you can't create an app for drivers if you're not a driver yourself. That's just, if you're not using your own product, how is everybody else going to use it?
Yeah. And did you when you first started these apps that you created, did you pretty much was the test dummy for these apps?
I'm still the test dummy. There's one. I mean, I got a few people that test. Like, obviously, I can't test in Australia. I mean, I would have to fly back and forth. There's no way I can do that. And so anytime I implement an app for like Australia, I have 3 apps. Well, Maximo works for 3 of their apps over there as well. Okay. And so for me to do those, I have to have beta testers and light back and forth and things like that. And so, I do have a few beta testers that help me out, but other than that, it's just me.
Yeah, so that's cool. So these are international apps. They can be used just outside just the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, there's some apps like Bolt. It's not on there because I get people that email me say, "Hey, put Bolt on there." I'm like, "Okay, I need a beta tester." Nobody wants to beta test it. So if I don't have a tester, then I can't add it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And overall, has it been very successful for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think for a startup with no capital, no investing, just me, my time, I think I'm doing well off. We
got an upcoming GigCon. Pedro's throwing another up. Are you going to go to that GigCon and be there to talk to individuals in person if they want to discuss more with you?
Of course. I mean, I'm always available. That's the thing. Like, I think this is one thing people can always say about me. If you need to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me. I mean, text message. I mean, you could tell Roy, "Hey, I need to talk to Gary," and Roy would be like, "Okay, let me text him." And then guess who shows up in your live? Me. I mean,
yeah, we see that lots of times. We have seen that.
yeah, I mean, I'm probably the easiest developer to get a hold of ever. I mean, if you can't get a hold of me in a live, you can tell somebody that's on a live, hey, get Gary in here. Guess what? Somebody in that live has my number. If you can message me on Facebook, Twitter, email, all that stuff. It's I'm probably the easiest person to get a hold of.
Cool. And can you tell us more about the app you did with Red, what all that entails, and all that good stuff?
Talking about the Gig Wars app?
Yeah, the Gig Wars app. Tell us more about the Gig Wars app. I don't think a lot of people know about the Gig. They know the Gig Wars app is out there, but I don't think they understand what its intended use is and what it's for.
Okay, the Gig Wars app, it's basically just competition between drivers. That's basically what it is. You're competing. We always hear people say, "Oh, I make this much. Oh, I make that much," or things like that. Well, this app gives you a chance to go in there and compete against other drivers across the whole United States and see who makes the most. Everything's done manually by the drivers, so I don't collect any information that you don't put in there yourself. And you can delete your accounts if you no longer want to be a part of the Gig Wars app. You can delete your account. Guess what? It's deleted. That's it. It's as simple as far as iOS. It's very simple. You just go into your settings, hit delete account, and it's gone. As far as Android, all you got to do is email me, and I'll delete it, and it'll be gone. Like none of that's like it's all manual done. So that's why I don't get how people can say you can be hacked by using it, because you're the one putting in all your information. I'm not putting in anything.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything from your device or anything with that app.
Yeah. That was a major thing, because when you start spreading rumors like that on the internet, you start to see that people start to question this person, that person, like what's his ulterior motives. And so it's good to have you on here today to let the people know in the room and others that rumors are a bunch of BS, and it's not
right.
What's happening.
I mean, here's the thing with the way this is the way I believe. If someone has actual proof that that you're hacking someone, they're going to turn you into the FBI, because that is a federal crime. It's not like a slap on the wrist or anything like that. If you actually get caught hacking somebody, you do time in prison. And so if you have proof of that and not just speculation, or, I was hacked 3 months ago and now today I installed an app and it must have been that app,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I know me personally, if I knew you were hacking me, I would turn you into the FBI. It's a simple web form that you fill out and the FBI comes and checks.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. Because that puts a lot of people's mind at ease when it comes to because he was already in the room earlier and I had to kick him out of the room because he wants to start his shit. So but we're going to open it up to everybody in the room. If you guys have specific questions, I just want to get some of the major stuff out of the way. But if you guys have any questions for Gary, feel free. And he's watching the chat. He'll be more than happy to answer your question.
Yeah, sorry, I did turn off the chat earlier because it was distracting.
Oh, okay. Well, now you got to turn it back on. So
I know I turned it back on. That's what I said. I know one question I did see before I turned off the app was, what information do I collect? And like I said earlier, I don't collect anything. What you see in the app is the data that I collect. It doesn't identify anybody. So, it'll have your totals and, your distance, things like that, stuff for you to go back and look at. Like I can care less how much you make. I mean, I want you to make good money. Don't get me wrong there. I just personally don't care about other people's finances.
Yeah, and I figure I would let the chat talk. I could ask you 100 questions and all that good stuff, but these are the people that would be purchasing your app. These are the people that are currently maybe using your app, and so that's why I would like to get my chat involved. Unlike others, this is why the chat will be involved. They may have questions that I may not think of, or they may just rather hear it from the horse's mouth. Boom,
right.
If they have a question.
All right, Bobby. Bobby knows this answer. That's why he put it in there. Does the Duh app still orders from other drivers? It is impossible to do that because the way the DoorDash system is set up and how they're backing this setup, basically what it is the order gets assigned to one specific driver, and it gets sent to that driver's phone. And if anybody else tries to capture that order, it'll tell them it's unauthorized because it's not assigned to your driver ID. So that's why it can only be one driver at any time that it can accept for. So it can't steal orders.
Yeah, that's one of the rumors that was going around, that your app somehow can cherry pick the best orders out of outer space and send it to specific drivers. And that's kind of started to goofing around while we were all goofing around, because I started using the Duh app.
I know everybody did.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So,
Yeah, everybody did. Yeah, the driver's utility app is on Android. In fact, you can find all my apps at garysapps.com. Every app I create for the gig community is at garysapps.com.
Yeah, we figure since there are going to be rumors doing this, we could tell everybody, like Bud Soda could use the Duh app to help fill its gas tank up. Stuff like that. Stuff like that.
I know Josh and them do it too. He's like, my casino chips are see what he said. He said, my casino chips are going low. I need the Duh app to send me some more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you see any weird questions like that, that might be some of the rumors some of us started. Like,
Mary, there is not any apps out there that can steal orders for DoorDash at all. Like I said, it's a single person system. There's no way to steal those orders.
Because I think what a lot of people are thinking when it comes to that, they're thinking of the Instabot,
Instacart bot. That's what I'm saying. That's that first come, first serve. Now there are bots out there for stuff like Instacart and Amazon and Deliver That. Like I said, I'm too ethical to do that. I don't want to take away from anybody's money. I just want to provide safer options for drivers to do the work that they're currently doing. And trust me, if there's a way to get rid of 250 orders, that would be great. I mean, there just would be. If I could just like never get them, that'd be great. But to say it only gives you the best orders, I mean, that's great marketing for me. I mean, keep telling people that, but that's not true. DoorDash and Uber Eats and Uber and Lyft, they assign the order to you, not me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Cruise and Dasher, you may be able to use the app to locate those deer.
I know, right?
Yeah, because it's got some awesome capabilities, according to some people, that they can do these things.
Obsessed, as far as I know, it's not. Like I said, I've spoken to DoorDash. They know how my app works. They have my driver ID. I'm still active on the app. I know that was one rumor that I'm not active on the app anymore. Here you go. I'll open it up. Eventually active on the app. I'm not on a block right now, but I could schedule. So
Hulk Smash is asking, could you missed it. Could you explain the different levels of the app?
Let's see. Where's that at? Oh, the different levels. Okay, well, there's a free version of the app, and then there's the paid version of the app. Like I said, I don't like to hinder anybody's money, so the free version is the auto accept. So you can always make money just by using auto accept. There's some free stuff in there, like the breakdowns. You get the breakdowns for free. The paid version, it just has more features to it, like the auto decline, things like that, things that help me continue working on the app all the time.
There's a question for you too.
Yeah. Just like if you do it yourself, if you don't accept an order, your acceptance rate goes down. If you accept one, it goes up. One cool feature, part of the premium version, is DUH does keep your rolling 100 for you. So it can actually estimate what your acceptance rate will be if you accept an order, which will help you. I know a lot of people right now, they want that top dasher. I know they got that new program rolling out for silver, gold, and plat. And so the DUH app can actually, tell you if you're getting too low on your acceptance rating. So that way, okay, if you typically accept $6 orders, but now you got a $4 one come in and you're at 71%, DUH is going to tell you that, hey, this is going to go down to 70 if you don't accept this. So that way you can maintain your higher acceptance ratings.
And there's a question from Mr. Sensei.
Are you ethically able to have an app like Gig Wars that can record earnings data and make it more accurate instead? I probably could on Android, but as far as iOS, no. There are other ways we can do it too, but it would require your email and password, and that's very costly because we'd have to use a third-party service to do that, to get all your earnings from multiple apps, and that's very costly. I think the minimum of that is like $5,000 a month, so that's way too costly at this point. Yeah, I've had people offer to buy my company, but I'm not selling it yet.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing about buying companies. If somebody wants to buy my company, I always tell them it's going to take $1 million. I mean, because I can do this literally for the rest of my life. So if I'm going to sell my company at all, I might as well be able to retire from it.
Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Here we go. Jonathan.
Probably not anytime soon. I mean, unless these apps just come out with a better way to do things, or if Apple would release more developer function to me, then I can do an iOS version. I've thought about doing an iOS version of Maximo, just because the Uber and Lyft, they do have some driver APIs that we can work with. It will require your email and password at that point for the gig apps. But I mean, it's still up in the air if I want to do that or not.
And there's one from Lisa.
Oh, that's easy. You just go into your request history, tap the name, and then hit block. But you have to be a premium user for that.
Oh, shit. Fucking Sensei.
Yeah, go ahead. Send the money over. You can hire me to work for you.
Western Union that like real quick.
Yeah.
It's all good, bro.
Yeah, I mean, send me a direct message. I'll give you my bank account number. You can sell it to me.
Oh, shit. Let's see.
Form, you're not on his channel. Okay. I was like, I see your.
So you really haven't met any backlash from the companies themselves regarding your app at all, then?
No, I mean, like I said, they've all reached out to me at some point. DoorDash was probably the biggest pain. And I think a lot of that was because I was actually, when the app first came out, it was called Dash Utility. And so I think a lot of people was thinking that they had to have that as well. And so DoorDash is, they was like, hey, you can't use Dash in the name, and they was throwing a fit over it and things like that. So that I was like, okay. And I was sitting around one day, I was like, what the hell can I call this thing? And then I was like, duh. I was like, that sounds great.
Yeah, if somebody would like to put Gary's information in the chat, we'll pin it up on the screen so people can. I'm not the most technically inclined when it comes to this stuff. So when it comes to pinning stuff and all that other stuff.
But to pin it, you have to actually go to the YouTube side and then press and hold and hit pin.
So there we go. So if you guys are interested in going and checking out the apps, there you go.
Yeah, like I said, all my gig apps are over there. Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have some type of like the platforms are never going to agree with my apps. I mean, they're just not, because as much as my intention is for safety aspects of things, their outlook on it's going to be something completely different. Just like the drivers, their outlook on things are completely different than mine as well. So, for that, there's nothing I can do. We have to try and work the best together we can.
And there's Sensei again he's a first time viewer, so he has some questions for you.
Uploading screenshots will come at some point. It's just taking a while. I think the next step for the Gig Wars app is I'm rolling out Team Wars, so you can have two different teams compete against each other. I'm also rolling it out to Canada users. I know we got some viewers up there that are wanting to join. Right now, the Gig Wars app is only for United States, and so those are the two that are coming next. But screenshots will be available in the future at some point.
Okay. This is a question totally optional for you to answer, but there's this question here.
I don't know because I mean, how do you value a company? I mean, I'm one man, so I can literally do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Have you noticed that keeping up with the apps and doing the apps, is it taking away any of your time from actually being a gig worker and doing the gig apps yourself?
No, it helps me a little bit because one thing, I am a big baby. I will say this: I'm a fair weather driver. So if it's raining, snowing, sleeting, icing, and I mean like rain, like flooding rain, I'm not working. I am a fair weather driver on that, and so these apps allow me to not have to work as much if I don't want to. It also allows me to, if there's say there's an update that Uber rolls out and Maximo's not working or something, it allows me to take off the time I need to update the app for Maximo, and then I can go back to work. So it's not like I'm taking off a week and then losing income for you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. And so, but trust me, I'm not making millions of dollars a year, a month, or anything like that. I wish.
What?
Feel free to subscribe, though.
Yeah, right. Real question. Can the questions be read aloud for us podcast listeners and safe driver listeners? Well, I don't know. Unless Gary can find a way to make an app that works with StreamYard that can, automatically say what that.
You know what? That is actually on my to-do list. Is okay. I'm very frustrated about the StreamYard process. Like, they've been around for years now. Why do we not have a StreamYard app? Like, this works terrible on phones. It is probably the worst thing on a phone. And so I'm actually looking into the YouTube API. YouTube actually has an API that we can work with. So I'm going to see about creating a streaming service for YouTube.
Yeah, because I think that would be actually a really good thing, that since you're driving, you don't have to read comments. It just goes back to the whole safety thing. If you want to listen to something like this, you could actually hear questions being, asked of the great, instead of just hearing, well, what did they ask? And, stuff like that. So, yeah. So there's Mr. Pedro in the house.
Oh, look at Pedro. Thanks for joining us, Pedro. I thought you was doing, I forgot you did your live today at 3:00 as well. Remember, I told Roy 3:00's a good time to do it.
This is a good one from Jackie. Shit.
I know. I wish.
Right?
I've never had so much drama in my life until YouTube.
Well, it's just crazy that people are willing to spread false information like that and try to ruin somebody. We already know my situation, not a reason to get into it. But it's just crazy like that. It's like, come on, man. You have access to the man. The man has never denied you anything or anybody, and then you do off that, and then you try to bully him into doing an interview with you. Come on, man. That's just ignorant,
Right. And yeah, I mean, that's why I say I don't bash people on YouTube. I just don't. It's not my style. Now there might be other people that do. I ignore it. It's just who I am.
Yeah. Well, there's one from Krista. The new name for the
no, don't be spreading that name. Don't be spreading that
name. Oh shit. But
can I agree with you there? I don't know why they don't have an app for StreamYard. They should get one.
They've been around for a long time.
Even I guarantee you, if they create an app for StreamYard and charge $9.99 a month, people would use it.
Yeah.
They just would. I would. That's one that I would pay for. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the way that it runs now, man, is so glitchy sometimes with the audio, and sometimes the visuals are all messed up. It's just crazy. Like,
Yeah, it's terrible to use on a phone. Desktop, it's great. Desktop, I have no issues with it, but on my phone, especially on iPhones, it's terrible. You know, it's
that's what I'm driving.
Dustin, Parked Vegas.
Thank you, Xander. We
All right,
appreciate
thanks,
that
Xander.
pretty much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I hope it's good enough. We know it ain't going to be good enough for certain individuals, but hey, as long as you guys are here enjoying yourself, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters. Don't worry, Sensei, making it. But yeah, so. Well, I appreciate you coming in for sure. Definitely, we got to get some of this shit straight.
That's what here's the thing about me. If you're nice, polite, and you treat me like an adult,
yeah,
and you say, "Hey, Gary, would you like to come on my channel?" I mean, yeah. I mean, look how many channels I go on.
Yeah.
It doesn't take me much to get me on your channel as long as your content is positive.
Yeah,
I'm more than welcome to. You know.
Well, yeah, just keep that a secret about me being nice and polite, and just
I tell everybody all the time, you're a big ass teddy bear. I know he is, because I'm everybody thinks I'm an asshole too in like real life, like out in the world, like everybody's like, oh no, but you know, I'm a teddy bear too.
Yeah.
Still slot winnings.
There you go, Sensei.
You know what, Sensei, send me a flip phone and I will try my best. Like, send me a flip phone, and that's a real fact right there. I actually had Josh, he sent me his phone because something wasn't working. I was like, man, I don't know. I would have to look at it. And Josh mailed me his phone from Pennsylvania to my house. And I felt so bad because then I got it. I was like, oh man, I could have done this without the phone. I had to mail it back to him.
All right, here's a good comment. I like this comment. Yeah, he has, definitely.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think paranoia. Now, don't get me wrong. I think some paranoia should be great. You should always trust the apps you install. Don't just blindly install apps. That's like when you get text messages or emails from these companies and things like that. Don't blindly click on them and enter your passwords. You know, make sure you trust the app that you're installing. If you can't. First off, if you don't know the company, don't install their app. If it asks for email or password, don't do it. If you don't have direct access to somebody, or you know, gig apps are a little bit different, DoorDash, Uber, and all that. You need that for work. But I'm saying third-party apps like mine, if you don't have direct access to somebody, I would never install an app like that. I just wouldn't, because there's too much stuff that can go wrong.
Yeah, there's one from Trout.
Yeah, Trout, I addressed this earlier. It's going to take Maximo, I might, because Uber and Lyft, they do have some driver APIs that we can tap into. As far as DOH, it probably won't ever be on there unless DoorDash wants to play nice with me. Or I figure out an on-phone solution. That's my thing, is I don't want to do anything to piss off these gig companies, because if I'm going back and forth with them all the time, then that's too much time that I'm wasting doing that, rather than having a working product for drivers. And so if I can work with the gig companies in a mutual solution that they're not always trying to destroy my apps, then I will.
What kind of question is that, Josh?
No, but she don't work in rain. Donna Donuts is my wife. Ask her. She does not work in the rain. She's more of a fair weather driver than me.
Oh, that's who Donna Donuts is? That's your wife?
Yeah, that's
wow, I didn't know that. I had no clue.
Yeah, see, she says she don't work in the rain either.
Hey, Gary's wife, how you doing?
She's funny because she'll walk outside and be like, oh, does that look like a rain cloud? I'm like, right. Man, there's no rain in the forecast today.
Right. She's got the Weather Channel on lock, like, oh my gosh, look at that storm in Florida.
Yeah.
We can't go. It's too
She
close.
Actually told me that one day. She goes, it's going to rain today. And I'm like, at 9 p.m. tonight, And this is like 8 in the morning.
Oh, she's like, yeah, it's gonna rain. And then you ask her where. She's like, well, it says up in New York City, it's gonna
Right?
rain. And then I don't know. Oh, geez, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I've had friends over the years, and I actually have one friend. He's on his 5th or 6th car now
Yeah.
because he works in terrible weather, and he's flooded his motor twice. He's ran off the road because of ice and snow, and
Wow.
it's like, I like my car. I just do, and
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
they're
not going
too.
to tear it up.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
too expensive to take a $2.50 order to crash into a ditch or something because it's raining or.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I get it if you have rent due, things like that, and you have to go out in bad weather. I completely get that. But for me, I try to set myself up so I don't have to do that.
Yeah. And it's good that you have these apps too that help because then you don't have
Right.
to take your eyes off the road if you happen to be one of those drivers that is working in those conditions.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing worse. You can't see out your windshield, but you're trying to look at this order coming in on your screen. That's the great point, Roy. If you have the apps, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And I know iOS users like, well, I can't use the app. Well, I tell you what, all my current iOS users do, they get a decent, cheap Android, and then they hotspot it from their iPhone.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So yeah.
Well, is 1 good or is 5 good, Sensei?
Oh, there we go.
I mean, I'm gonna say 3 because it's in the middle. I mean, I think I'm a pretty decent developer. I can develop a lot of stuff. So, and for being self-taught too at that. Like, I didn't go to college. I didn't go take courses. I just learned it on my own by reading.
See, that's what's crazy because I was going to ask you if you had any specific education to teach you how to do this.
No, I just, I'd sit down, I read, and I'd test stuff over and over and over, and that's how I learn. I just, you get better by practice. If you don't know something, learn how to do it.
And you've done it well because your apps get a lot of praise and a lot of, people speak very highly of your apps and people are using them. So that's.
And then Josh is salty towards me, by the way. If people don't know that Josh is salty, he came to me one time. He goes, he runs a shoe buying flipping service, right? You know what that is?
Yeah.
Roy, where they get shoes and then they sell them out to other people. And he goes, hey, can you help me set up my server? I'm like, no, I can't. And so he's salty about that.
I see.
Yeah, see, Tony wants me to do something for his Tesla, but I told him I have to have his Tesla to do it,
Yeah.
And he won't let me borrow his Tesla. Sorry, Tony.
See, that's crazy.
I mean, you got 2 of them, Tony. Are you really going to miss one for a week? You have 2.
Yeah, right.
He actually did let me drive both of them whenever I was up there in Denver and
oh, nice.
Yeah, I drove both of them.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I think we ran out of questions for you here, boss. And
DDIS every week.
I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's almost been a full hour here. So once again I want to say thank you to Gary for coming on here and doing the interview. And I want to thank the audience for coming in and participating and drilling the man with some questions.
See, look what Josh did.
Yeah, I see that. And once again, thank you for coming on, Gary. I appreciate you very much, man, for giving me the interview. And,
of course.
And we will be doing this a weekly thing. We will get a different guest every week, and we will do an interview with that guest. Once again, these might not be the best or most perfect interviews, but hey, they're an interview.
You know what will happen though, Roy? The more you do them, the better you'll get. Practice makes perfect.
Well, you know what? I think that the best way to do an interview is off the fly anyways. Yeah. If it's all pre this or pre that, to me that's not a genuine interview. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather do it on the fly because, everything we do, gig work in general is on the fly. Everything we do is on the fly. So to sit there and pre-plan an interview a month later, I think this is a lot better way to do it. It makes more sense to me.
Right, especially when you get questions from the people that actually in the chat. I think that makes better because they're the ones who are here to watch it, so they do have specific questions that they want answered.
Yeah, and they're the ones that are going to be paying for the apps. They're going to be the ones looking at the apps. I could ask you all the questions, but that still doesn't. They may have a concern that I didn't think of because, or whatever the case may be. So, So that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. But we'll go ahead and end this. It's been almost an hour. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody in the room. Definitely thank you, Gary, for coming out. And definitely go to his, you want to put your app thing up here one night, GaryApps.com.
Yeah.
And you guys go and check out his apps. And
yeah, and like I said, if you have a question, you can always reach out to me too. Like I said, I'm always available on the Gig Wars official channel. You can pop in there and just type, "Hey, I need to talk to Gary," and anybody in there can get a hold of me pretty much. Or if you want to email me, if it's more of a private question, support@middletontech.com.
All right. And with that being said, guys, I want to thank everybody for coming in, and you guys have a great afternoon, and we'll see you on the next interview. All right, guys.
Later.